extra time.
Your team's approach against Jasprit Bumrah. I mean, we saw, that how devastating he was in the last day of the previous test.
Yeah, he bowled a brilliant spell, and that's why he's renowned as one of the best fast bowlers in the world. But we've also played him very well throughout this series at times as well.
2 घंटे में डिलीवरी, विश यू अ स्पीडी रिकवरी, कोई भी दवा अब नहीं करो मिस, दवाई चाहिए एसएप तो बस एक अपोलो 24/7 डिलीवर करे आपकी पूरी प्रिस्क्रिप्शन सिर्फ 2 घंटों में.
Your team's approach against Jasprit Bumrah. I mean, we saw, that how devastating he was in the last day of the previous test.
Yeah, he bowled a brilliant spell, and that's why he's renowned as one of the best fast bowlers in the world. But we've also played him very well throughout this series at times as well. And I think it's really important that we remember that as a batting group, that we've had a good success against him too. We only have to look back again. I thought we played him exceptionally well. So that's Test cricket. Sometimes you could also argue the same about Jimmy Anderson and the way that he's bowled at times within this series and the pressure he's put under the Indian batters. You've got 2 very high class performers on either side there that have managed to bowl spells of bowling that have turned the tide of a Test match within this series. So I think it makes for great cricket. It's a great challenge for us as a batting group to face someone of his quality, and very much looking forward to us going toe to toe with them again this week.
The tight turnaround, I guess, in these Test matches is a bit of a challenge for you, in particular for the fast bowlers. Jimmy Anderson and Ollie Robinson obviously bowled a lot, didn't they, at the Oval? Do you know yet whether you're going to be able to call upon them here at Old Trafford? And what are the risks involved if you do play them again here?
That's something that we'll weigh up over the next couple of days. We'll use these 2 days, I think, really important for recovery and making sure that they're in a position to play Test cricket. I think one thing you have to do is you have to trust the medical advice that's been given. You speak to the guys that understand the science behind this, and also speak to the players as well that know their own bodies better than anyone else. And you never want to go into a Test match putting someone under risk of injury. You want to make sure you do the best thing for the player. But as you don't want to go into a Test match and someone go down injured and you've got one less bowler at your disposal as well. So there are a number of things to factor in, and of course we'll make sure that we feel very confident that everyone is fit to take the field and to put in a Test worthy performance as well when it comes round to selecting a team for this game.
There was a lot of talk from the pundits in particular after that Oval Test about the way India play under pressure and the fact that potentially they cope with high pressure moments better than the England players. Is that something you agree with? And is it an area that you believe this group needs to improve?
I don't necessarily agree with that. I'd say that within this series, there have been half an hour periods of the game where we've not managed it as well as them, and it's really cost us. And we're sat 2-1 down instead of potentially 3-0 up. You look at Lords, that's at half an hour with ball in hand, and then you look at that spell of bowling from Bumrah last night or the other night, and they've really cost us the 2 games. And it's just managing those passages better, I think, collectively. Finding a way to get through a different as a batting group, being smart about how we're going to go about containing it and getting out that lower order are things that we need to make sure that we're better at, and that we're learning about as the series goes on, and over time we make sure that when we're in those situations again, we're on the right side of it.
Joe, can you confirm that Joss will be back as your vice captain this week?
Yeah, Joss will be back as vice captain, and he will keep looking.
Okay, and then that leaves one more decision, I guess. So it's Ollie and Johnny for one place. Is that a choice you've made yet?
That's something that we'll consider over the next couple of days, and make sure that we're happy with going into the game.
Got you. In terms of Jack Leach coming back into the squad, I wonder if you could tell us where you reckon he's at. He's maybe someone who hasn't always had tons and tons of bravado and confidence, himself, perhaps. But at the end of the winter, it seemed like he was really leaning into that role as the number one spinner, and he hasn't played since. Just wonder where you reckon, from your, I don't know if you've chatted him today, or where you think he's at right now with his game and his sort of self-belief.
Yeah, I think that he'll have really benefited from going away and playing some cricket. I think it's really important that he got the opportunity to do that, and I think it'd be better for that coming back to this squad. And I'm sure he'll be desperate to take an opportunity if granted one. I've not seen the pitch as yet. What you can get sometimes here at Old Trafford, it can spin, and that could be an option that we have to look at with two spinners. But he's done some fine things for England, as you mentioned. You look at how he performed this winter, and even before that as well. So we'll know what he's capable of, and we know that he's a fine player, and I'm sure that in himself should give him a huge amount of confidence.
Do you see him, you say about playing two spinners there, does Jack have to get in the team as the second spinner?
I'd say that Moeen Ali is our first spinner, yes.
Got you. And just lastly from me, how, we talk about home advantage, I guess, a lot, but Old Trafford's been somewhere you've played a bit more than anywhere else recently. You were there for 3 tests last summer. I think you won them all at Old Trafford. Somewhere really, really well. Is that a good place for you guys to be coming into a must-win match, really? Somewhere that you feel the conditions and the pitch and all the sort of 1%ers very well?
I certainly got a lot of knowledge from playing there last year. And I think it's really important that we call upon all of that going into this game. But when it comes down to it, it's about, as I said, it's about playing what's right in front of you, playing the opposition extremely well for long periods of time. And when those crunch moments come, is grabbing the game as individuals, standing up, whether it's the two of you out there with bat in hand, or when you're given the ball, is can you bust it open? Can you create those chances that can turn a tide? And can you make those substantial partnerships which put you in positions to win games? I know it's something I bang on about all the time. You're probably bored of me saying, but that's what it comes down to, really. We just have to be better at doing both of those things. And I think with ball in hand, we've been excellent. And we need to continue to keep doing that. Maybe one big push. And with bat in hand, we've got to keep striving to keep improving.
Could you tell us the thinking behind Joss coming straight back in, please?
Yeah, he's the vice captain of this team. He's a senior player, and he's integral to what we're about. So I know his output in terms of runs this series hasn't been as high as he would have liked and as we would like, but we know what a great player he is and how important he can be to turning a test match. So that's the reason behind that.
Do you think there's any element of it being harsh on Johnny just to have the gloves for one game?
I think Johnny knew exactly what the scenario was when given that opportunity to keep wicket last week. But it's whenever there's change within Test cricket, whether you're left out or whether you're moved around, it's part and parcel of playing at the highest level. Sometimes you have to deal with some hardship and things that you don't always agree with. I don't necessarily think that will be the case with Johnny. I think he's a big part of what we've been about as a squad for a long time now, and he will understand it. As I say, Joss is the vice captain of this team. He'll come back in, and I expect him to perform.
So India are one of the best fast bowling groups going around, which is a huge deviation from their age-old strength, which was spin. Now, when suppose a particular type of track is being prepared, are you guys wary of the threat that might come with it, or do you firmly believe the home team should back its strength and not worry about the opposition? Also, a word on Javo's triple invasions.
Sorry, can you repeat the end of that question, please?
So do you firmly believe the home team should back its strength and not worry about the opposition? Also, a word on Javo's triple invasions.
I think hopefully that's the last we'll see of Javo, from my point of view. In terms of home advantage and stuff, it's always going to be there. There's always going to be an element of home advantage. I do think in this country that at times it can be hampered by the weather because of the amount of rain that we have. It can disrupt how you prepare a pitch, so sometimes you don't get what you'd expect at a certain venue. So, for example, at Old Trafford, it can be very different conditions to what it could be at somewhere else in the country because of the amount of rainfall that you have. And it's a slightly different square anyway. But from my point of view, I'm encouraging players on just really good test match wickets. I think that's really important. If we're going to be the best team in the world, we're going to have to be able to play on wickets that are good and flat at certain periods. We're going to have to be able to manage bowling on wickets that are good for batting for periods. We're also going to have to be able to learn to deal with scoreboard pressure as a batting group. We're going to have to be able, as a spin department, be able to bowl for long periods of time, whether that be to hold the game or to deal with pressure of a spinning wicket towards the back end of a test match and deal with trying to bowl the side out and having that on your shoulders. So from my point of view, I just want in England, in English conditions, good wicket. And hopefully that's what we get this week.
Hit the subscribe option and the bell icon to get all the exclusive sports videos on Extra Time.